I'm your daddy.
I can be smart when it's important.
I'm your daddy. I'm
sorry to this
I'm your daddy.
Welcome to Daddy Dailies, a podcast hosted by Not Your Daddy's Films. On a film set, dailies are sent out after a shoot day so you can see the work in progress. Daddy Dailies are conversations that go behind the scenes so you can see what work went into the process and be better armed to succeed in the industry. Daddy Dailies, hosted by Not Your Daddy's Films. Dun dun dun! All right, welcome back to Daddy Dailies. I'm Carlye.
And I'm Katherine.
And we are two of the founders of Not Your Daddy's Films.
We met our next guest at one of our very early Not Your Daddy's Film screenings and have become friends and collaborators since. She is a true daddy in every way that we define it here at Not Your Daddy's Films. She is kind, she's proactive, she's a go-getter, she's a master at connecting creatives and promoting their work. She's a writer, producer, programmer at the American Cinematheque and has recently created the Proof Film Festival here in Los Angeles. Somehow, she also finds time to put on events with Film Girlz Brunch, a group of femmes in film that have co-founded and also co-hosted the podcast Players, a film industry podcast. We are so excited to talk to her about her career and her passion for film. Imani Davis.
Imani!
Welcome to Daddy Dailies.
Thank you. That was so nice.
So I think we wanted to start with like a rapid fire game. You can just to like loosen up here.
Totally.
You know, you can just, it can be a sentence, it can be a word, but you hit her first.
All right.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I think so.
Okay, let's go. What is the last movie that you watched?
Ooh, the last movie I watched, Challengers.
Oh my God, I just saw it too. I just saw it after.
Whoa. Okay.
So good.
Favorite restaurant in LA?
I really like Figaro Bistro. That is by Los Feliz.
Big.
Ooh.
Yes.
Their happy hour is insane.
Yes.
Their happy hour is
crazy.
their mini martinis.
Totally.
Yeah.
Dream project genre to produce. Whatever you want.
I'm really into, the Christopher Nolan, Alex Garland, Sam Esmail kind of stuff, but with women.
Okay.
So I want like a Interstellar, but it's like Black women.
High
Ooh.
concept,
That
female forward.
Yeah, intergenerational like story of trying to find each other and trying to find our past and history, but like there's also space and stuff.
Yes.
Love.
Oh, that's dope.
Project.
Fave series that you've programmed in AC, or like one that you could pops in your mind.
That's a hard one. I think it's one of our recent ones that we just did with the screenwriting duo, Kiwi Smith and Karen McCullough.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes. They did 10 Things I Hate About You, Legally Blonde, She's the Man,
House Bunny.
House Bunny,
Yeah.
like iconic.
Really all of the classics.
Is these like two women who are just like badass.
Yeah.
And that was like super fun having them in. And all the screenings were like packed.
You had great moderators for that series as well.
Yes.
Did you moderate any of them?
I didn't.
Oh,
No,
cool.
Kiwi and Karen like got all these awesome moderators just like come out. So just went along with that. Dylan Mulvaney, excellent moderator. So good.
We love Dylan.
And she's coming out with a podcast soon too.
Oh,
and I'm like,
great.
this makes sense.
Yeah.
You were amazing. You're better than some of the journalists that we have because
Aw.
you looked at me and you had this banter. It was great.
What is your favorite part of Film Girlz Brunch?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Film Girlz has been really fun to have a space for people to go, similar to Not Your Daddy's, of like, we would go if I just like touched down here and I don't know anyone. There wasn't a lot of stuff when I came to LA. It's just like, where are those open spaces? A lot of things were kind of like, seemed like word of mouth in terms of like getting to know people in the film industry. So it's been really fun just seeing people collaborate with each other out of those. So come in and they're like, I don't know anyone, or I just moved here like a month ago. And then they'll just like start meeting each other and meeting other people. So that's been really, really great to see.
Oh. We love you, Imani.
You guys.
Let's start from the beginning. So tell us like where you grew up, what first made you passionate about film, kind of like your origin lore.
Oh, man.
Yes.
Okay, I'm
Your
gonna
villain
try.
origin story.
Yeah.
Please.
I'm going to try not to ramble. It's interesting how I'm sitting here with you all. But I always loved films and storytelling growing up and was always like a mini producer now that I think back on it, especially during creative writing classes and such. And like elementary school was always the one that was like, I'm going to read my thing that I wrote when the teacher's like, who wants to read their thing? Me. I had my friends like draw me covers and stuff because I couldn't draw. I still have like one of those. It was like a fairy story, and I had my friend like draw me like a fairy cover. So I was always like really into storytelling. ate up books, which is sad because I don't read as much now. But
It's
read a
hard
ton.
as we get
It's
older.
so hard.
Yeah.
I
There's not enough time in a day.
There's not. Then when it came time for college and such, was like, it was just automatic. It was like, what do you want to major in? I was like, film. And luckily I had supportive parents who were down with that as well. I was so very fortunate for that growing up. And thought I wanted to write, thought I wanted to be a full-time screenwriter and such. Then entered my first year of college at Ohio State. I was studying film studies and I had a screenwriting concentration. I was like, I actually don't.
I forget that you went to Ohio State.
Yeah.
Because, I went to Michigan, so we're
Oh
enemies.
my God, we're enemies.
I remember this only, from the very first time we met. And we were like, okay, moving on, now we're friends. Bye.
Love that. Took a couple screenwriting classes, and I still love writing, still love the art of storytelling and such, but knew there was other things that I wanted to like do in film. Didn't know what it was yet, but was studying like history and theory and was really into that because I took more of those kinds of classes in addition to the screenwriting classes, and just kind of like dived into that of like, okay, do I want to be an academic? What do I want to like, I don't know, be a film critic? So then after school, I was like, I have a film degree now. I need to figure out what I'm going to do with this.
Yeah.
And so spent some time at home back in Chicago and went to go to grad school, was thinking about that, and also was just thinking about getting into producing too. Was hearing more about that, also hearing more about programming, and there's a really cool kind of underground programming scene in Chicago where there's like these micro cinemas, people at like abandoned storefronts or on college campuses just showing movies.
Yeah, I was going to ask
so
you,
cool.
like, how did you even find out what a programmer was? And like, and how did you know, I guess you were going to get there, but like, that was the plan, you know?
Yeah.
'Cause-
Totally.
Can you even tell us what a programmer does?
Yeah, definitely.
For the folks out there listening at home?
Yeah, it's really mystified. No one really talks about it as like a career in
It's
the
so
industry.
vital.
Which is
It's so vital.
It's super vital, and someone at Sundance, someone at Tribeca, at South by has to pick the movies. That's like the festival side of things. Someone's going through all those submissions and such, and making choices about the program and trying to put together the best program that they can put together. And then on like the art house venue side, I feel like those roles are even more scarce. Because a lot of people, they get in those roles and they die in those roles because why wouldn't you? Those are kind of like a little bit different where you can like play around with repertory and play around with older titles, and you're curating for that like local audience who's like coming in through the theaters, and you're playing like newer films and stuff too. And so there's some different roads that you can go. I feel like festival programming is a little bit easier to break into because there is that seasonal aspect where they're always bringing in people, and like you can start as a screener and then like kind of work your way up. It's a little harder on the art house side where it's like there's just not that many roles,
Right.
and people stay.
Well, I assume too, like it's with like an American Cinematheque, you're doing it constantly all the time, all year. So it's like once someone gets in the rhythm and the groove of like doing it all year long, you don't want to lose them. You know, it's because it's like you know how to do it at this point so clearly.
Yeah, there's that part too. Like it's cool at the American Cinematheque where you kind of do just like jump into things. We have over 1,500 screenings a year, which is wild at our 3 theaters.
Take us back. You're in Chicago.
Yes.
Okay.
Chicago, and just going to screenings just to meet people and such, and seeing that there are people introducing things and talking about why they picked them and stuff. And I'm like, that's cool. I want to pick movies.
Yeah.
Not really knowing too much about like programming as a thing, as a career, and kind of just doing it for fun. So just talking to people about how'd you do this? And there's this really cool organization called Doc Films at the University of Chicago, which like is a student-run film society. It's incredibly impressive, like now being out of it and being like, what? It's all student-run. They're playing like 35 millimeter films. And
it's still happening now.
It's still happening,
and
yeah.
It's Doc, D-O-C?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
Doc Films. And they play all kinds of stuff. A lot of narrative. Like it'll be similar to our programming, honestly, like at the AC.
And it's college level. Like they're in college.
Yeah, and they're projecting.
So cool. Wow. That's amazing.
It's wild. So I'm always
so
like
cool.
shouting out Doc. I learned a lot about programming there because anyone from the community can kind of like pitch series and stuff. I'm still on that listserv, and they're like voting on like next season now.
Wow. That's really cool.
So I would like pitch series, put series together, and people were really good about feedback and saying like, oh, maybe you could do this to diversify your series and stuff, or like, have you thought about this film, or have you thought about this, or I know where a print of this is. So that's a really cool environment to like learn more about putting a series together, learning about distribution, where to source prints. So highly recommend if people are in Chicago.
Yeah.
Want to learn more about programming. And so was just kind of doing it for fun, and then was doing it for some local organizations for fun too, just volunteering. There's a theater company called Facility Theater, shout out Facility, who had just gotten a space right before the pandemic. And then once they were opening back up, they had like a projector and like a screen. I was like, y'all should show movies. You should let me pick them.
And you were in grad school this time?
Yes, I was doing grad school part-time too.
Okay.
And also producing some movies and with friends.
And then so what brought you here? I know this, but tell
Oh my gosh, I tell you the story. Oh yes. So this is why I always say too, like if you think someone's cool and you just feel like a sense of urgency to talk to them, like talk to them, because I wouldn't be sitting here with you all today if I didn't talk to this person. So I was at Block Cinema at Northwestern University. They have like free film programs, and I had like gotten to know the people that work there and stuff too. And so I was just there for like a free program. It was a traveling like Barbara Hammer film exhibit. And so there was this woman named KJ who was introducing, who had worked at the UCLA Film Archive at the time. And now she works at the Academy Museum, like it's like heads up the film program.
Theater is insane.
Yes.
Theater is so crazy.
And so she did her intro, and I was like, she's so cool. Like, I'm gonna talk to her. My friend's like, go talk to her. Okay, like feeling shy. And then we talked and just had a cool conversation like afterwards. I was like, that was really great. Like I learned a lot. And then we like stayed in touch. She saw what I was doing like on social media, where I was just like doing like random scrappy programs, doing like a movie musical like series at Facility, just cause. Not thinking about anything
Not.
happen. Yeah. I was like, I just want to do this. And then she saw what I was doing. I was just like posting on social media and stuff. And then when the American Cinematheque, like she knows the folks that worked there, like my boss and like some other people that have worked there. And when they were looking to add another film programmer to the team, they were looking for someone maybe like that didn't have like full-time experience in programming, maybe had this outside perspective, were community oriented.
Probably younger.
And
younger.
And she put my name in that. And then I got connected to like our deputy director at the time. And then we had a Zoom. And then next thing I know, I'm heading over to LA.
How quickly did that happen? Got in, they were like, hey, you want to move here next week? Or like how fast was that?
It was really wild because I got to do a little bit of guest programming where I like came in, like got to come in for like a weekend and like do a program and such.
Kind of dipped your toes before you.
Yes.
That's really cool.
Exactly. Because it was going to be a big move. And didn't know fully that it was going to turn full time. And I was finishing up grad school too. And I was like being transparent about that of like I'm finishing up school. Like I do have some things to do because I think they were like, when can you move here?
Yeah.
You know, I totally understand if y'all need to like move on, but this guest programming thing is cool. And they waited for me for like 6 months.
Yes.
to finish school and to like wrap things up in Chicago. So then I moved in July of 2022.
That's one of my favorite things about you is that you got here and you were like, okay, cool. I'm going to have an organization, work for the best theaters in LA, like start a podcast, like produce, like you're doing everything in such little time. And it's really amazing. And you're connecting people and women and non-binary people, which is amazing. And
And it seems to, really quick, it seems to like this is something you've sort of always been like this, you know, just like, I think it's a certain type of person that's just like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to check out this. Like, you're like a seeker. Like you were like, what can I do? What's here? What's at, Northwestern? And I think it's just like really admirable.
Thank you. I am super curious and I was like, what's going on? What's going on over here? Maybe it's the ADHD too.
Shout out. Literally.
I'm super curious. I'm always like, what's going on over here? What's going on over here? You know about this?
And you do it all very genuinely. It's,
Absolutely.
a lot of people move to LA, I think, and can get swooned by just like surface level things. And I feel like everything you do and you move forward with like so much like genuine energy, which is why people, I think, flock to you and like, you know, all that stuff. So I was going to say, so like what's a day in your life at AC like?
Oh my gosh, no day is the same because, and I think I like this about the job too, of like being at a year-round venue and like we just have a different program every month, looking at the calendar and being like, what slots do we have to fill with the rest of the team? And what ideas do we have? What ongoing series do we have? Do we have something for this month? Do we have something over here?
Can you explain also really quick what AC is as a whole?
Yeah.
Like if people listening don't know what American Cinematheque is.
Totally.
And then continue. Sorry, I just interrupting in the middle of everything.
No, yeah. AC plug. We're a nonprofit film organization. We program at 3 theaters in LA. So the Los Feliz, 3, the Egyptian Theater on Hollywood Boulevard, which recently opened back up, and the Aero Theater in Santa Monica. So those are our theaters that we operate at, and we have shows like every day.
All the time.
All the time. Every day. And we'll go offsite too for different things, such as like Beyond Fest. One of our festivals will sometimes do like offsite things like at the Chinese Theater, the IMAX, or we'll go to the Westwood. And then we have Proof, which is our film festival as well, which we have in Culver City at the Culver Theater. So we'll go different places, but we're all about the communal experience of cinema, and bringing people in and to watch movies, and also connecting the audience to the filmmaker.
So
it's so cool.
Yeah, so like your everyday, you just have to be so aware of everything that's going on in film,
Totally.
which is so fun.
Totally,
Which
yeah.
is so fun.
It's super fun. It's a lot, like, I feel like I will spend some time on social media during the day, but it's like for work.
No,
so
for
weird.
sure.
I'm like looking for the latest thing. What's a new
Yeah.
wire posting about? Where's the new A24 trailer?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Filmmakers,
Yeah,
all
new
that stuff.
filmmakers, watching shorts. They just post on like director's notes or something, or short of the week. Yeah, it's just staying up to date. It's also like, what are the goals? What retrospectives might we have in mind down the road? What new movie is coming out over here? And just like percolating on that, and thinking through those things about the strategy, and even like making relationships with filmmakers too. But now a big part of my days will be like Proof related too.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes, tell us everything about
yeah,
Proof.
Proof plug. So, when I came into the AC, there was this want to do more with short films and emerging filmmakers in general, and like they knew that I had kind of that background as well, like being in Chicago and stuff. And so it was basically like, go think of something we can do with shorts. And I'm like, okay. Talk to...
You like say that.
Exactly. Like, okay. I wanted to do something different than what was already happening like in LA. There's already some great short festivals here, such as like Holly Shorts, LA Shorts, Oscar qualifying festivals. So what could we do at the AC that was different, filling a need, filling a gap, taking advantage of our resources and connections with like studios and stuff. We thought through a couple of things. Like, I had some conversations with folks about specifically proof of concepts of like, oh yeah, and I made this as a proof of concept. I don't really know what to do next. Started with like a Google search of like, I bet there's festivals out there. There's so many films that have like started like that. How many proof of concept festivals are there out there? And there was like, none.
Yeah.
Bet. Let's do this.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's a short film festival specifically for proofs, whether they want to make it into a feature film or a series. And we started it last year in October, and we had our first year. It was really fun, even in the midst of like 2 strikes. So it went
amazing.
well.
I remember being just, so in awe of the whole, it was packed theater, one.
God, yeah.
2, all of the films were incredible. And for the block I went to, which I'm sure the rest were amazing as well. But I just, it was like, it felt like it had been running for years. Like it felt very... Yeah.
Imani slays.
It was dope.
And it's also just so cool, like, not only are you showing these shorts, but like you're actively trying to give a resource for like then what happens after.
Right.
And the fact that that doesn't exist is so crazy, and I think that's so much of like what we're about at Not Your Daddies too, is it's just like, okay, what can we like actually do to help move these creators forward?
Totally. I love y'all's vibe too at like all the events, because the films are incredible. The knowledge and the people are always just like so kind. I've met so many people. We were just talking about someone who met through Not Your Daddies. So yeah, y'all are killing it as well.
I feel like the proof of concept thing is so important because so many filmmakers early on, they don't have the funds to pay for a feature, obviously. And it's like kind of that stepping stone, and that, you know, we've all done it, and I know you're about to do it, and you're giving a platform for people to be able to like showcase that first or second like work, you know, and it's just really cool.
Totally.
Yeah,
It's
and
awesome.
just to have those nuggets of ideas, you know, like,
Yeah.
okay, here's something I think works.
Mm-hmm.
Let me give it a try. And when it does, it's like, okay, here's evidence. Like, people are into this. It's just such a good
Without having
a
to
good
spend.
way to make something with a purpose for
Totally.
something greater.
Yeah.
Totally. And people are just like, it's easier for managers and agents and industry people and studio execs to like buy into it. I feel like when there's, oh, here it is. Like, here's just a little nugget of it. I want to elongate it and make it into something. Like, it just makes it a little easier.
And you have you can speak a little bit too, on the end of every short last year, you had the filmmakers do like a pitch video almost, which I thought was such a good idea.
For sure. So that's what people submit as well when they're submitting to proof is like, yes, here's a short, and then also like a statement of intent. Like, what are your goals and what do you see the next steps for this project as? We wanted to make sure we had some kind of component there where it's like, okay, we're not requiring the script because that's like a lot. And like someone can come on and help you develop that. And they might want to do that.
Right.
So we have a mix of people who have a script and don't have a script, but everyone has a statement of intent. Everyone has to have like some kind of vision or plan, especially if we're putting you in front of industry people. We want to make sure you're like, you know, talking some sense.
Yeah. I can't wait to see even just like where that is in 5 years. You know, like that's just year one. And it's already put together so well. So
Hopefully some movies.
yes.
That's the goal for AC too, is like this whole full circle moment of like, you know, we're doing like retrospectives of like directors when they have like 8 or 10 films or something, but also like what are we doing to help emerging talent, and then like what is that full circle moment of like having the idea and the genesis for like a new piece of cinema, of art, and then actually showing it that you see later.
Yeah.
So that's
It's a cute little incubator situation.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, talking more about your programming there, so you've developed a series like Here's to Her.
yeah.
What is most important to you when making things like that?
For sure. With the ongoing series that we do, I definitely wanted to do something that was celebrating women and femmes in film. Whether that was, you know, it could be an editor, it could be an actress, it could be a director. Of course, women are so underrepresented in the industry. It's like wild, and we're actually moving backwards.
Yeah, it's actually
So cool. It's so fun.
but we stay positive.
Stay positive and we keep doing the work. Yeah, just seeing articles like that of like, okay, so actually the progress has decreased. Okay, awesome. What are the ways that we can continue to like build a platform for people and like celebrate people who are making a way for themselves in the industry, and also who have had just amazing track records but have remained like unsung heroes, kind of. We had Nancy Savoca, who's a filmmaker from New York, who's just like incredible, and we had a restoration of her movie called Household Saints, and then we decided to like play some other films for her, like in a tribute, and just like I got to visit a lot of her films where I saw Household Saints, and then like got to see more of her film. I'm like, this woman knows how to make a movie. So underrated.
Yeah.
So it was great to have people like come out for that, and we got a good audience for it too, and she was really happy. It was great. So like, what can we do to just uplift and like try and contribute to those numbers as much as we can?
Yeah, and for context, just for whoever is listening, the Here's to Her series, Imani invited us to help co-host, and what we thought was so cool about that is speaking on, you know, giving people that space is like you're giving first-time filmmakers a theater to premiere, or some of them were premieres, I think, to premiere their features in, which is such a rare thing now with streamers and, you know, online premieres and all this stuff, to actually be able to see your movie and with people in a theater as cool as American Cinematheque was just like very special. And Yeah, that was just really cool. We really loved doing that with you.
For sure. Women Wednesday.
Yeah.
And you had other organizations involved as well, which was so cool. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So Women Wednesday, we're excited to like keep having this like mini festival in March, Women's History Month, where I think we're going to keep doing that, of like focusing on debuts and having a specific place for that, like in March. And it's kind of like a little festival vibe. And so, yeah, every Wednesday in March, we're gonna keep taking over the Los Feliz and having a debut feature film from a woman or non-binary director, as well as like a night of shorts of like debuts there as well. Those were all debut kind of shorts.
Those were all so good.
Yeah,
that was awesome. And it was Light Leaks and Real Champs.
Yes,
Light Leaks and Real Champs,
which is so fun to like come together with them as well. Like great for us to meet them, and just I think really just so much of it is just getting everybody in the same place.
Totally.
And being like, yeah, we're going backwards, but like, at least if we all know each other, we can like just keep trying to figure things out together.
Totally.
So we loved doing that all together.
Yeah. I'm
so
having you.
On that note, what are your thoughts on film bro culture?
You know, there's a lot there. And I think at the AC too, we really try and put a spotlight on different kinds of films. I don't want to name films.
A diverse, inclusive, dynamic.
Yes, for sure.
Programming of films.
Yes.
So it's not all,
yeah. But yeah, and just get like making really exciting programming that's gonna bring a different type of audience.
Totally.
Because the AC, I mean, how many members are there? This is it's big, right?
For sure. So we've got like pretty much every film lover in LA, which we've gotten to build up over the years, and then we have like 6,000 and counting members.
That's amazing.
Yeah, exhibit membership.
And I always feel like the theater's packed. Like every time I go,
oh my gosh,
I feel like it's always very crowded. A lot of people.
Totally. And it's great too because we can show like different repertory films, different kinds of repertory films as well. We can show Kubrick, we can show Fincher, we can show Tarantino, we can also show Nora Ephron, we can show what did we just showcase? Oh my God. Nancy Myers. And they're doing them they're still all doing numbers, which is great. So we like having a diverse show of programs. So we're not showing like the same things all the time because there are all those tentpole films that everyone just like flocks to, especially when we do our 70mm fest. Lawrence of Arabia, Space Odyssey. People love those.
Yeah. I saw Malcolm X in 70.
So fun.
It was unbelievable. Totally. Seeing a movie in 70 or 35, like it's just crazy. Always. Sure. It's crazy always. On a big screen like that. And there's so few theaters in LA that do that. I feel like more and more are doing it, but you guys crush every time.
For sure.
You are also a writer and producer. Let's talk about what types of projects you are attracted to.
Yeah. It's been interesting being a programmer and then also being a filmmaker as well, and having this past my resume as a producer and having a goal be, writing and producing. I really like being involved and like also like working with other directors and maybe even directing more myself. We'll see how it goes. But that's been interesting because I think it's helped develop me from my own taste and what I'm drawn to, like as a filmmaker. What are the gaps that I'm seeing too with watching so many movies and seeing what's out there? What do I want to see? What do I feel like there could be more of and that people would be interested in the market? So I feel like I have been drawn to, I think I talked a little bit about Alex Garland and like I love Ex Machina, I love Mr. Robot, I love like some Christopher Nolan stuff, like those big high concept kind of things, but like grounded characters. I specifically want women protagonists in those roles because you don't see those.
Did you see Civil War yet?
I did, yes.
Did you love?
I did, I really did.
I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, no spoilers.
No spoilers. It was intense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The sound design's crazy.
The sound
design's nuts.
Wild.
Yeah. Kind of what you're speaking to, like, female characters and like crazy world building and
totally.
It's really cool.
Yeah, for sure. And that was like different of like, oh my gosh, here's not spoiling anything. But here's Kirsten Dunst in this lead role in this world. that was really cool. And I loved Love Lies Bleeding. I was like, that's it. That rocked.
Did you see that one?
For sure.
The aesthetic of that movie and just the vibes,
rocks.
It's a dope movie. I can't wait. You're gonna
love it.
Obviously, I'm gonna love it. There's like murder and love.
Really.
That's all I require. Murder
Rose
and
Moss
love.
did Saint Maud.
Yeah.
What a cool filmmaker.
Totally. I'm excited for her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just like the fact that so much of this doesn't exist yet. Like there should be a million Love Lies Bleeding. Like there's just so much room for us all to be like pumping out this content.
Totally. And I don't know why that kind of genre of things well, we know why. But has been mostly men and male protagonists, male directors, male DPs, male writers. And so it's cool to see more, even if it's slow, more of that coming to play. And it's doing really well.
Yeah.
I was really glad to see how well Civil War did at the box office, especially being an original story.
Yeah. Because every time original stuff is made, it's showing more and more. It's like, hey, we can get funding for original stuff and people will enjoy it, will like it. If the concept's there, if the writing's good, if the actors are amazing, it doesn't need to be the 50th Marvel movie. You know?
Yeah.
Please.
Do other stuff.
We love Marvel, but
yes, of course.
We like original concepts too.
Yeah. And just how cool that like you've really done so much work in this like programming and knowing what's out there to be able to differentiate too of like, okay, this is what I love and here's where the gap is.
Would you say like watching so many movies has influenced your taste and your style and made you like a better artist?
I think so. Yeah, I think so for sure. I feel like I'm jumping at the opportunity to see anything that I haven't seen. Like my watch list on Letterboxd has just gotten obscene.
Crazy. I gotta check it out.
Yes.
Where I'm like, okay, so how am I gonna watch all these movies in my lifetime? I really need to like work on this. So I've been.
You are. You sure are.
Been focused on that this year. Really like tracking things and like, oh, what have I seen and what do I want to see, and just tracking at other like repertory houses too. If I can see it on the big screen, I'd love to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like it has, and I definitely recommend it for like any filmmakers, which I'm sure they are watching as many movies as possible.
Yeah, I feel like that's major advice for people wanting to do anything in this industry. It's like literally be like a psychotic obsessed person and watch everything.
I always get so confused because I feel like I'm one of those psycho obsessed people, and whenever people are filmmakers and they're like, oh, I don't watch movies, I'm like, but
But like,
what do you do then? What do you mean? Yeah, but like, how many movies a week do you think you watch? Would you say?
I try and go for at least 4 a week.
It's good work.
Some people are like at the new bev like every day. I'm like, I'm not on that level. But I try and watch a decent amount.
That's dope.
Because you just get more even influences and ideas in your head. Ooh, that shot was really cool, or like that. And
I also feel like once a week I'm DMing you because you've met like an iconic filmmaker
Yes.
at AC. You're like shaking their hand, or you're like,
yeah.
I saw Edgar Wright at TCM Fest recently. I thought of you.
I just love him so much. One day, after I make something worthy of showing him, I will just shove it in his face until he listens.
I feel like I would vibe.
He seems so. His voice is amazing. He's just like, I wish I could do like an impersonation of it, but I love his voice. Anyway, also you do such a great job of promoting diverse voices, and so like, how do you find new talent? Where do you seek out these people? Recommendations? Like, how do you do all that?
I try and go to a lot of different short film festivals too. So me and my colleague are about to go to Series Fest in Denver, Colorado, which I would say if there is anything out there that's like close to proof or like similar at all, it would be Series Fest, which specifically focuses on episodic storytelling and does like indie pilots, and they're just like spotlighting TV and such. So
Which there's not much like that
Yeah.
anywhere.
So many women that make pilots.
Yeah, there's some cool stuff out there. And then like that's sometimes it'll turn into a show. Broad City, Insecure, like those are all web series. So I try and like go to festivals as well as like word of mouth. I'll get like recommended things, especially when we do things at the American Cinematheque, like any kind of shorts nights. We have like an Arab American women shorts night coming up this weekend.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
And so, even with those, I'll just like get recs from folks. I'll like put it on my story and then like get links sent. 'Cause I just don't have, unfortunately, we don't have the capacity at the AC to just like have open submissions for like every short.
Right. You guys would be inundated. It would be nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So sorry. But you can always DM me. I'm very accessible on DM. But
do you get people to do that? Do they ever just kind of, are they like, hey, here's my short?
yeah, especially
that's
when
awesome.
like I love that. Like, shoot your shot.
Yeah.
If I like post something like looking for more of these,
Mm-hmm.
someone will be like, here's my short. I'm like,
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Which also great advice. Like, shoot your shot. You just
Yeah.
you never
Imani's
know.
like, not too many people.
Definitely don't shoot your shot only to Imani. But I'm just saying, like, you know, like reach out to that filmmaker that you love. Like we're, I think, learning that and working on that too now. No?
They're
Hey,
willing to
yeah.
help, or they'll be like, no, and then it's like, all right,
Oh, well.
I tried.
Yeah. Like
That's
we're
the
all,
worst thing that can happen.
yeah, we all love the same thing. We're all doing the same thing. Like it just should be less and less scary.
Totally.
Even though it's scary. When do you sleep?
That's a great.
Because also you've just launched a podcast.
Yes. So, me and my co-host, her name's Dema, and she's actually in Chicago. It's cool because we have these like different viewpoints of like the industry, where it's like she's viewing it from Chicago, the Chicago film industry and stuff, which I've taken a part in, and I love the Chicago film community and such. But then also like I have this perspective now from LA and like the differences there, and so we are always having like conversations about the industry and like, or, like, what if we did this? Like sending voice notes back and forth to each other, and we're like, why don't we just like record these thoughts?
Are there major there's major differences obviously in both markets?
Totally huge differences, and there's definitely like a want to strengthen the Chicago film community and industry and bring more projects in. There's just of course debate of like how the best to do that and what are the organizations in power that have the ability to make change happen, and what are they doing? What's the strategy?
Who's the first to pull the trigger and like all that stuff?
Totally. So it's like there is this want to build it up, but what's the best way to do so in a sustainable way?
Yeah.
Because I love Chicago. I definitely want to go back and make films in Chicago. It's a great tax credit program.
Ooh, that's
So
great
are
to
you
know.
guys, is your podcast with other guests? Are you guys just speaking with each other on these topics, or what's the like format of how it works?
Yeah, we do like half and half of like, okay, we're just going to talk about this. We recorded an episode recently, sneak peek, about women directors that we're kind of like obsessed with and highlighting those folks and different bodies of work. And we did it kind of like draft style of like, okay, who's your pick for this category? Who's your pick for
Oh,
this
that's
category?
so fun.
That was fun. That was just
Yeah.
us. But then we also have like, we'll have guests in. So we did a kind of like a panel, like roundtable podcast episode with some folks who have done like fellowships and incubators and accelerators, talked about those experiences and like applying to those and getting in and what do you do once you do get in. So we'll have different formats.
I can't wait to listen.
I know, me too.
Yeah.
What's it called?
It's called Players, a film industry
Players.
podcast.
Cute.
It's got a little disco ball, a logo, yeah.
When did you release for the first time?
Yeah, we released on International Women's Day.
Is that March 8th?
Yes. Okay. And we're trying to do like maybe even like live things too of like if there is like a panel or something to moderate and we can both like be in the same place, or even if one of us is just there, like demystifying things in the industry. Y'all know.
No, I mean,
It's good.
The more we do this and the more we talk to other women in the industry, it's just like, and then when I get on my podcast app and I look for, a podcast with women speaking about film, there's not a lot. There's really not. And I get so excited hearing that you're doing this. It's been so fun that we've been doing this, and there are, there's other women that we know doing this, and it's like, I can't wait for there to be a space where women can just get on their chosen app and type in women in film and have just like a plethora of things to like work through, listen to, stuff like that with like, incubator conversations.
Yes.
Like 5 years ago, I would have no idea what that even meant. And so the fact that that's just going to be available to people is huge.
Totally.
Anything else that you feel like, I don't know, you want to say to the people?
Support your local theater. Go to the movies.
Yes. 100%.
Save the movie theaters.
Save the movie theaters. It's been cool. Like people want to go to the movies, and it's been cool for the AC. And I think we do things differently than like, smaller chains or bigger chains and such. But yeah, there's definitely still a existential crisis about the exhibition and stuff. People want to go to the movies. We've seen that, but I don't know. Something's gonna change in that area of the industry, both distribution and exhibition. So
yeah.
But in the meantime, keep going to the movies.
Yeah. The one thing about AC is that their ticket prices are very accessible.
Yeah.
You guys have great ticket prices. Members have good ticket prices. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for doing this. We're so happy that you came.
Yes. Like you're such a wealth of knowledge. So it's like just so fun to talk to you. And I feel like we only scratched the surface of your film knowledge in general.
Yeah.
So yes, so many more things to come. Can you tell us where our audience can follow you, see your work, find out more?
Send you 400 DMs.
Yeah.
For sure. It's at Imani M. Davis on Instagram and other platforms too. Yeah, that's my username on other platforms. You can follow Film Girlz Brunch.
Yes.
Girls with a Z. If you're in LA and want to just... We also are doing it in Chicago too.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, they started up in Chicago.
Yeah.
Chicago girlies.
Yeah.
Love that.
So there's a Film Girlz Brunch LA and a Film Girlz Brunch Chicago. So check those out.
And how often do you guys do your brunches?
Yeah, we do monthly.
Great.
Monthly meetup. Yeah.
Okay, bye. Daddy Dailies is presented by Not Your Daddy's Films, a social impact organization dedicated to educating and empowering women and non-binary creatives in TV and film. If you like what you heard today, don't forget to subscribe and leave us a positive review. And if you want more Daddy episode insights and links to what we talked about, join us on Patreon/NYD Films. Daddy Dailies is produced in partnership with Robert Bailey and edited by Carlye Tamarin, Vika Stubblebine, Claudia Restrepo, and Gracie